The contents of this video are specifically aimed at those people who are serious about quitting smoking. I will take you through my own personal journey of discovery, which I believe will help you on your own journey. That is, if you're serious about quitting smoking. I will not coddle you through it, and that means I will not tell you things that I think you might want to hear. But rather, I'll share some tools of mine that I have used countless times to get me through some very tight spots in recent decades. I hope to impress upon you that every aspect of your life is determined by each decision that you choose to either make or not make. If you are serious about quitting smoking, then I urge you to put your ego aside and listen to what I have to say over the next few videos. Thank you.
I have been smoking for 50 years. And for the last 40 years, I have been rolling my own cigarettes.
Am I a crazy guy? One might think so. I've been crazy in that I've been smoking for the last 50 plus years of my life. And I've just recently decided to quit. And what I was doing there was helping myself to fight off the urges to smoke. What I've got is I left myself one little portion of a butt inside of my pouch with a little bit of tobacco, and honestly, I just inhale this. Now, I'm not smoking, I'm just inhaling the smell of that awesome cigarette butt, which at some point in time is probably going to start being repulsive to me. That's what I'm hoping. But right now, it's a very welcome aroma. And as a result, I've just made it through 4 days, 4 consecutive days of not smoking. Now, after 50 years of smoking every day of the week, I think 4 days is quite an accomplishment. But I want to make it for 40 more years, because my plan is to live to be 100 at least. At least. And I'm going to tell you how I'm going to make that happen. I'm not just talking through the top of my hat. I'm just not making myself believe something that doesn't exist, that won't happen, because I believe it will happen. But anyhow, I just wanted to give you a face to the voice, because this video is going to be of really great value to you if you are working on quitting smoking right now. Now, we all have different reasons for wanting to quit. Some of them are probably mostly health related, but they could also be financially related, because who of us can really afford to blow upwards of $200 or $300 or $400 a month on cigarettes? Like, it's ludicrous. I'm going to give you a little thumbnail sketch of what you're about to see. 9 months ago, I became a vegan. And that has really benefited me in a lot of ways. My health has improved in general, and it was one of the impetuses that drove me to decide to quit smoking. Now, prior to my being a vegan, I would say to my friends, I will be smoking up until the day I die. That was the plan. In fact, I will probably die with a cigarette in my mouth. That was the plan. But becoming a vegan, it has changed my whole perspective on things. And I've gained a new understanding and a new uh, appreciation for life itself. Not only my own life, but primarily the lives of animals. So, for those of you who don't know what a vegan is, it is somebody who does not consume animals or animal products. That's the 2-second definition of what a vegan is. Anyhow, I believe that becoming so has enabled me to deal with quitting smoking much easier than if I was still a meat eating, dairy consuming, cheese chomping, milk guzzling, egg cracking, and egg frying, butter up kind of guy. If I was still eating all of this crap, I think quitting smoking would be that much more difficult to do. I urge you people to set aside your preconceived notions and you hear out what I have to say, because if you are serious about wanting to quit smoking, you've got to do what I am going to share with you. You've got to at least hear what I've got to say. Don't discard it as though I do not know what I'm talking about, because I do know what I'm talking about. I may not look the part, but I know what I'm talking about. So you can have your ears tickled and let people say to you things such as, yeah, do what works for you. It doesn't matter what you do. Um, but most of that is hogwash. Nothing ever worth attaining was easy to attain. Quitting smoking is one of the hardest things to do in the world. I believe I can help you ease the pain of quitting, because I have some philosophies I'd like to share with you. Plus, I want to encourage you to find your real reason why you want to quit. Something that's bigger than you. It can't be some airy-fairy waffle kind of, well, I want to quit because my boyfriend doesn't like the taste of smoke on my mouth. That's not a good enough reason to quit. And I assure you, if that's what your reason is, you won't quit. You won't stay quit for long. There's got to be real reason in order for you to have real conviction. Because without the real conviction, you're going to be struggling, I assure you. Why do I say that? Because I've been there, done that. I remember many years ago, decades ago, I quit for 6 months at a time, once. Every day of those 6 months, 180 days approximately, before I gave in and had my first cigarette, which led to me smoking you know, immediately after. But 180 days smoke free, and every day was a living hell. Why? Because I didn't have a good enough reason to quit. So please bear with the storyline of what's to come next. I don't know how many different videos I'm going to make, but I'm going to be uh, giving you updates. For those of you who need a mentor, well, maybe you can use my videos as a mentorship program. Right at this moment, I have just attained my fourth consecutive day. At 4 p.m. in the afternoon was when I had quit on March 5th. And right now it is March 9th, 4 full days. So, what I have to say is worth watching. It's going to be a bit time consuming on your part, but you determine for yourself, do I want to quit or no? If you don't really want to quit, then don't bother coming back to watch anything of what I have to say, because I will help you quit. That's as simple as it is if you are serious and you start by coming back to watch my videos.
I have been smoking for 50 years. And for the last 40 years, I have been rolling my own cigarettes. Using rolling papers, doing it by hand. Prior to that, I bought factory-made cigarettes, otherwise known as tailor-mades, TMs. When I was 25, I developed a cough that was just never going away, and I tried quitting smoking during that period of time, and I managed to do it temporarily, but I got back to smoking again shortly thereafter. That is when I switched to rolling my own cigarettes. And within 2 weeks of switching from tailor-made cigarettes to rolling my own, my cough that I had had for a good year left within 2 weeks, never to return. So as a result of that, I have been a very much die-hard smoker who frowned upon smoking tailor-mades because of what I knew it did to me. And I would encourage everybody that I would talk to who was a smoker to switch from what they were doing to this. But anyhow, time went on. I'm going to be 65 years old this year, and things have changed in my life in the last 9 months. 9 months ago, I became a vegan. My reasons for becoming so were solely for the benefit of the animals. I had watched a couple of documentaries, Forks Over Knives, Cowspiracy, The Game Changers. I watched a couple of activists' talks, namely Gary Yourofsky and Earthling Ed. And after having watched what I watched, I decided there and then that I would become a vegan. And what that means is, most of you know what it is, but for those of you who don't, a vegan does not consume meat, dairy, poultry, fish, eggs, and we also do not consume byproducts such as leather, wool, feathers, anything to do with an animal having to give up part of its body to produce and provide humans with a product. We also disagree with zoos and hunting and fishing and circuses and rodeos and horse racing and the like. In other words, we become pretty anal when it comes to that because we have become the voice of the animals. Now, some of us go a little bit further in that we become activists, and we do so in a number of ways. The simplest of all ways is by talking to friends and family about the benefits of becoming a vegan. And basically, there are three things that happen immediately the moment that somebody becomes a vegan. First of all, the animals benefit because it eliminates the needless suffering and eventual death of animals that are used to produce food and so on for human consumption. The second thing is that your health improves. It starts to improve on day one. And by within a couple of weeks, you notice that much more of a change. And within a month or two, you notice that much more of a change to the point of it's been documented. Many people who had been on pills for diabetes, for instance, within a reasonable period of time, were able to get off the pills. So your health benefits greatly as a result of stopping eating meat, poultry, fish, eggs, and dairy products. The third thing that happens is the environment automatically improves because the factory farming of animals, such as chickens and beef and dairy cattle and pigs, they are the most widely farmed animal in that they provide us with eggs, milk, cheese, butter, meat. And as a result of the millions of animals that are farmed, and not millions, billions worldwide, that are farmed and caused to suffer and eventually are put to death while they are alive, they are polluting the environment because of the vast amount of manure that is created. It's that simple. But also what happens is they clear out excessive amounts of land, and especially they are clearing out rainforests so as to plant crops to feed these animals and to give them grazing ground. And the rainforests are being depleted as a result, and that affects the environment overall. Not to mention the lakes and rivers and streams that become polluted as a result of the use of chemicals and pesticides. The most commonly known one made by Monsanto called glyphosate, which has since been banned in most countries. And the company was eventually sold to the Bayer company, the aspirin people. And they just basically repackaged the product with a new name and found a new way to utilize the poison. And so the product is still in use today, 2021. And they use it primarily to kill off wheat prematurely so that it can be harvested, because wheat has got to die before it becomes harvested. And if in the event wheat is ruined by excessive rains or frost or however climate can affect it, it becomes useless to them. So what they do is they spray the wheat in advance to cause it to die so that it can be harvested. So glyphosate basically is being used on wheat and probably on other crops that require dying before being harvested. But you might say, well, what in the heck does that have to do with tobacco? Well, I'll tell you the story about it in a few moments. I mentioned three things that take place whenever someone becomes vegan. First of all, it improves the life of animals in that fewer have to suffer and die. It improves your health automatically. It improves the environment automatically. And the fourth thing that occurs is one gains an amazing amount of gratification in knowing that your simple action has affected so many things in such a positive way. And for those of us who become activists, we even impact that much more because we are now informing people about what goes on. And as slow as that goes in producing results, the results eventually take place. So for every human being that becomes a vegan, there are that many fewer animals that have to suffer and die as a result. So that brings me to this next thing. The point that I want to make in regards to tobacco. About a month or so ago, a conversation began between myself and a nephew of mine. And I'm not going to give you the details of the conversation, but basically I was informing him about the benefits of becoming a vegan. And he was giving me a hard time, primarily due to the fact that I smoked. And his argument was, I'm not about to take any health advice from someone who smokes. Now, I thought about that. And, as I mentioned, I never felt that smoking affected my health. So I just carried on smoking because I feel as good today as I did when I was 25 years old. Actually, I feel better than I did then. So I didn't feel that smoking negatively affected me. But in his saying what he said, it triggered a thought within me, and I wondered, okay, well, does smoking impact animals in any way? Like, of course, if a person smokes inside of their house and their house has pets in it, yeah, the pets are definitely going to be affected. I would not argue that in the least. But since I don't smoke inside and I do have a pet, I didn't concern myself with that. But what I wanted to find out was, does the growing of tobacco and the harvesting of tobacco affect animals? And my research that I come up with verified that it does. But before I did the research on it, I responded to my nephew saying, if my smoking affects the well-being of other animals, I will quit smoking within 10 days. I'm not doing it for you, I said to him. I'm not doing it for me. I will do it for the animals. That will be my only reason. And I told him I will make my quitting public, which I am doing right now. Now, before I carry on, I just want to show you that is all the tobacco that I have left in my pouch. The equivalent of about one, maybe two more cigarettes. And I'm going to smoke it. Why? Because I enjoy smoking. In fact, I'm going to roll this cigarette. Oh, I guess I'm going to have about two, maybe three left. I'm going to roll this one right here in front of you so that you can witness how it's done. Now, there is a certain amount of satisfaction that a person gets from rolling a cigarette. It's therapy. When I am rolling a cigarette in silence, maybe sitting outside in the sun, or sitting in the shade, or just inside my little place here, there's a certain amount of satisfaction that comes with the rolling of a cigarette. Now, I had been smoking no more than 15 of these a day for the last 30 some odd years. And as I said, I have not coughed since I was 25 years old, and I'm turning 65 this year. That's my pallet shed that I have been working on for the last 6 months. And it's the greatest shed. I am going to miss smoking. I am not denying that I will miss smoking. It's been a part of me for all of my life. But I want to veer this story in a different direction for a moment. I have spoken about a great number of things in this journey that I'm on. But there is something in particular that I've spoken about, not in great detail as of yet, but I will go into much more depth as time goes on here. But I just want to touch on it a little bit in this particular video. You see, I have made a lot of very stupid decisions in my life. And they cost me dearly. But in having done that, it caused me to take a look at everything. My way of thinking, my way of doing, my reasons for doing this or not doing something. And I have come up with a little bit of a philosophy that is really just common sense. It's nothing really brilliant about it, but it works for me, and I believe that it can work for other people too. There are 3 important components that must be implemented in order to accomplish anything. And without going into detail on them, I'm just going to name them for the moment. You've got to be disciplined, number 1. You've got to be prepared to make sacrifice, number 2. And you've got to be prepared to put the effort into whatever it is that you are going to do to make it work, to make it happen. Without doing those 3 things, nothing will come together. So, just for your own knowledge, think of something that you have accomplished in the past and ask yourself if you were disciplined and if you had made sacrifices and if you worked hard at making it happen. And there's no doubt in my mind that those 3 things have occurred in order for you to accomplish what you set out to do. And look at things that you weren't able to accomplish and ask yourself the same question. Was I disciplined enough? Maybe. Maybe you were, but maybe you weren't prepared to sacrifice, or maybe you weren't prepared to put in enough effort. There's fact in that. It's simple common sense. So I feel that I have mastered that. Now, one might look around and say, well, you know, what have you got for, you know, what have you accomplished? You know, I suppose if a person is going to determine success by what an individual has, then in my mind they don't understand what success is, first of all. But if you are going to judge me based on the meager possessions that I have, then first of all you don't understand me, and you don't understand my way of thinking. And I think you've got a distorted understanding of what success is. Maybe I can help alter that with time too. But I've already managed success in that I am still alive after what I had put myself through for years, and I am still alive to talk about it today. That is success. And success is measured in a multitude of ways, from the smallest accomplishment to whatever it is that you set out to do. It doesn't have to necessarily have a monetary figure attached to it. That's irrelevant in my mind. Sometimes it's nice if you can generate income from something that you love doing. That's a bonus. But success is right here and right here. And it's in reflecting on what you have done to have a positive impact on other people and other beings on the planet. And in some cases, we can have an effect without even knowing that we've had an effect. And I believe that that has happened countless times for me. And that is an amazing feeling. My little YouTube channel that I have, which you are watching this video on right now, you know, it's been fun doing. It's been rewarding to me in having done it. I expose my vulnerabilities to the world, and there's it takes courage to do something like this, you know, to let the world see inside you, see what makes you tick. Because not everyone is going to understand or be impressed or be in agreement. A lot of judgment gets passed, and that's okay. I don't worry about those sort of things. I'm sure judgment has been passed on me a number of times for having been a smoker while becoming a vegan, and I guess deep down inside of me I knew that eventually I probably would quit smoking, and
You know, I'm about 3 cigarettes away from it right now. The reason I told you the story about the discipline, sacrifice, and effort is this. I am going to apply that same philosophy to quitting smoking because you know what? This is the hardest thing in the world to quit. And for those of you who have struggled with stopping eating cheese, for instance, and I know a lot of vegans struggle with that because cheese is very addictive. The casein that is in cheese is the addictive property, and it's a tough one for a lot of people. Personally, I didn't struggle with it because my reasons were for quitting eating cheese were stronger than the addiction that I had to it. And I believe that my convictions for wanting to quit smoking are stronger than the addiction of smoking as well. So anyhow, I am just making this as a public announcement because a couple of reasons. I would like to encourage other vegans who are smokers to take a look at how the tobacco industry affects wildlife and affects domestic pets. And you know, if you are a vegan as a result of doing it for the animals' sake, then you have got to take a look at smoking. And you know, yes, we can say, you know, smoking doesn't affect animals. Well, it does, and find out for yourself how it does affect them. Do the research. And you know, if a person is being vegan for the animals, then they've got to quit smoking for the animals. That's as simple as it is for me. And my decision is made. So I'm going to keep you abreast of my progress. And now I have quit several times before. The longest time was for 6 months, a very, very long time ago. I was probably 30 years old at the time. And I quit for 6 months, and it was a living hell. And I'll tell you why it was a living hell. It's because I had too much stress going on in my life at the time. And I was doing it for the wrong reasons. So I'm going to add a fourth notch to my philosophy of success, of obtaining success. You've got to have a real reason why you are pursuing what you are pursuing. Without that real reason, you don't have the conviction that it requires to do it. So, am I disciplined? Yes. Am I able to sacrifice? Sacrifice is my middle name. Am I prepared to put the work into quitting smoking that it's going to take? That's an absolute. And do I have reason for quitting? Anything to do with helping animals and those who can't speak for themselves and defend themselves is reason enough for me. I'm going to let you observe the last few cigarettes that I have, and I will keep you posted as to my success. And I'm going to hold myself accountable. So you have a vegan good day, and we'll see you in the movies.